what is it that you feel is so important about brand that helps both sides of demand gen?
I mean, without a really strong brand in the market, your message will always fall flat.
Right.
Uh, and I mean, your brand is the thing that people think of when they hear your name.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are, as unfortunate as it may be, there are large healthcare companies out there. And when you say their name, people get an icky feeling.
Mhm.
And they haven't done a great job at creating a positive brand. And there are some companies where at this stage in the game, it's unfortunately might be impossible, right? There are health insurance giants, there are PBMs, right? They're constantly facing a branding challenge.
Right.
I think digital health companies and startups have a different branding challenge where we need to break through the noise. We don't have, there's no preconceived notion about who Eon is. So we need to create the brand from scratch and make sure that when people realize that they have a problem, Eon is the best solution to solve that problem. So
Right.
um,
And
go ahead.
one thing that I think is really interesting at this very, very early stage is how marketers are aligning the business strategy, which is typically handed to them with the marketing strategy. And it's always, I think, a very tenuous situation, especially with early stage, because marketers don't always have the insights or communicators. It could be any comms position to understand whether or not that business strategy is achievable because you're starting from ground zero.
Yeah.
So when it comes to customer acquisition, is that achievable? When it comes to revenue per, repeat customer, the whole 9 yards, is that achievable? And then of course, backing in how we're going to get there. What do you do in your own mind to have, not only to assess whether or not that business strategy is achievable, but set yourself up for success in having some, pretty direct conversations with the C-suite or board on what you can do to impact what they're asking.
Yeah, yeah. The great thing about Eon is there's a lot of transparency, there's a lot of collaboration between the marketing team and the other teams, but also between the marketing team and the leadership team. And I'm very fortunate to that Eon has a leadership team that believes in marketing and believes in the value of marketing. There are organizations that it is a hurdle to explain the value of marketing. If marketing isn't creating leads or driving a direct line to revenue, it is often very difficult to justify the expense of a marketing team and marketing budget and going to events and doing advertising. So there are a ton of metrics that we track on a day-to-day basis. We are tracking leads, we're tracking impressions and on our ads and clicks and how many people are coming to our site. We're tracking all of that. And we can show that our website traffic has doubled in the last year. Great. And that's a wonderful metric to show when we want to emphasize the impact that the marketing efforts are having on our brand.
Right.
But the thing that matters is the number of sales calls we're impacting, the number of the amount of pipeline that we're generating, the pipeline acceleration, right? The metrics that used to be specifically tied to a sales person are now being kind of extended and influenced by marketing. So our sales and marketing teams are in lockstep. There's a lot of collaboration. So we know what our revenue target is going to be for 2025. We know how big our average deal size. We know how many initial sales calls it takes to create an opportunity and move through the funnel. So we've worked backwards and we've figured out how many sales calls marketing needs to influence every year, every month, every quarter. So there's a lot of collaboration there. I think going back to your question about the alignment between leadership, strategy, and marketing execution,